Hi everybody, Lindsay here. Today I'm going to show you how to tape stuff into your Techo. The first one I'm going to show is the same technique that you'd use for adding a page to your book. I like to dress my Techo to unimpress. Normal people would probably draw something like this into their page and write the name of the food on it, because I like to put things that I liked how they turned out so I can eat them again. But instead of drawing and impressing anybody, I like to just paste crap in there. So I'm going to show you how you would paste really big items so you don't cover up your entire page for that day. Just add it as an extra page, or if you download stuff from Download City, which I'll put a link to, if you print that stuff out, you can add it as an extra page this way. My first tip is for the tape that you use. The really clear stuff that's completely clear, this always works better. There's also that cheap stuff that's kind of cloudy, and so I do recommend that you use the clear stuff so it doesn't look as gross. So the first thing I do is, it can get a little tricky, so sometimes I start out with just a little on each tip instead of doing the entire, like fighting with the whole really long piece of tape. But I'll put it sort of like half and half on the actual thing first, and then I pull the tape back this way, because what we're trying to do is get as deep down into this crease as we can get. So I pull the piece of tape back and I just really push what I'm holding as far into that as I can, and I take my my fingernail, and the first part that I want this tape to touch the paper is in that crease. So use your nail on the edge of your finger to push it in the crease first, and then you work outward onto the paper like that. Maybe I can zoom in on the next one. And it's easier the first time, but now that it's closer to the paper, it can get kind of tricky, but you sort of get used to it over time. So I'm going to put it on the actual thing first. I'm going to pull this tape back towards it, get as far in the crease as I can, and then push down with my finger so I can get as deep in there as I can get it. And then I push the tape back out towards the page. So it's just inward to outward, and that'll have it cleaner that way so it doesn't start sticking out from your book and getting all awkward. It's kind of the same with the other side too. Because now this is a little trickier because it's already kind of sticking up a little bit, but we want to just make sure it's comfortably part of your pages. So I'm going to pull this tape back and work with my finger to jump down there and get it on the crease first, and then go outward. And this is cardboard, so it stays better, but if you have like a piece of paper where this starts lifting up a little bit because it's thinner, I would do the corners first and then do the same method and just tape the entirety of the binding down. So that's an easy way to add pages to your book. And then it just turns really nicely and it'll stay flat again. So that's the way that I add pages, or that I just tape something in because it's so large. And that's an excellent way in the A6 to add postcards, because if you're going on a trip and you get a really cute postcard, usually those like 4x6 postcards are a really good size for the A6, and you can just tape it in like I did with this thing, and that's just an extra entry, and then you can write on the back of that postcard so you have an extra page for writing all the stuff you did on your trip. One more trick I have for smaller entries is I have these Japanese pages in the back of my cousin that I don't use, so I'm going to be pasting these decorative paper over it so I can use these pages for whatever I want, because I don't really need the Japanese stuff. So I'm going to be using them by covering them up. I did a origami paper, but you can just do like plain white or plain pink or plain whatever you want, and just so you can use these pages. So first I did that, and then I like to try out new teas, so I save the tea bag and then I tape it on there so I can have like a reference. So like a little library of my rankings. So I just started that for this year, and if you want stuff that you can flip up really easily so you can see the bottom of it, when you're pasting it in, make sure you're taping the top and not reaching these corners, because if you reach the tape over the corner then you can't flip it up. But as long as you leave these corners free, this is a really important trick for taping stuff into your Techo. And I'll show you mine from last year. I had a day when I went on my honeymoon to Okinawa. We did so much stuff. I wanted to save all my tickets and look at everything, and I had too much stuff to write and tape and all that stuff. So one of the days we went to some fruit land thing, and so I have our entrance tickets that I taped on the top, and I wanted to keep both of them. So I sort of turned this one to the side a little bit so the tape could reach just a little bit of that. So with one piece of tape I managed to get the adhesive on all of it and keep it together, and by keeping these corners free, these flip up really easily. So I have these flip up. I wrote a little bit about what we did underneath that, and then I wanted to save one of the receipts for a restaurant, so I taped just the top little bit of that, and I wrote underneath there, and then I had another receipt, and then I wanted to paste another one of my teas that I was doing with the little collection. So that's how I do a lot more on a page that would actually technically fit. So if you want to tape things but it would use up your whole page, just do a little bit on the top there, and it's nice to be able to flip things around and you get a lot more creative with it. So in the A6 especially, that helps you fit a lot of stuff. So hopefully that helps you get things taped really cleanly into your book.